see here. Yeah, we're running.
Thank you. You okay?
Yeah.
Could you try to explain to me why is it important, in your opinion, to help and support the Syrian refugees here in Jordan?
Well, let me to start by thanking you for enabling me to talk about the necessity to help Syrian refugees. First of all, let me clarify that Jordan has been affected strongly by what called refugees crisis. During the history of Jordan, Jordan received millions of refugees, Palestinians, Lebanese, Syrians, Iraqis, whom they came to Jordan seeking for peace and security and stability. So this added naturally pressure on our infrastructure, on our national resources. Already we face challenges in regard of providing water and feeding water to our locals. So having a huge number, good number of refugees means that this will be also more pressure on our infrastructure, our resources, our natural resources. In spite of that, we received a huge number and we succeeded actually to provide security and stability for them. Today, it is very important to help Jordan and to assist Jordan actually, and talking about providing education, providing training, water, transportation for refugees. So it is a big challenging issue. That's why we will benefit out of any projects conducted by Europeans, by any country, actually to help Jordanians and refugees equally to avoid unemployment and to enable them to compete within the labor market and to enable them to compete when going back actually to their countries. This is the idea actually. Jordan is facing high rates of unemployment. That's why we are looking to help Syrians and Jordanians in parallel.
And could you try to explain to me in which way is NET helping, supporting, training?
Well,
refugees?
NET is one of the biggest training providers in Jordan. And we are the training provider number one who targeted a huge number of Syrian refugees. We succeeded actually to conduct so many projects in cooperation with the ILO, in cooperation with the GIZ, and in cooperation with some other organizations. So we succeeded also to target nearly 12,000 Syrian refugees through providing specific training for them to enable them to compete within the labor market and to legalize actually their work within our labor market. By conducting such a training, this will enable them to obtain their work permits and to obtain what called the occupational certificate in Jordan. This will help to legalize actually the refugees. So we are looking actually to conduct more projects in the future, because still this will help in creating jobs for them, and this will help us in doing capacity building for our training, for our curriculum, for our workshops, and for our trainers even. So we hope, we are optimistic that the situation will be good in the future.
What do you think is the alternative if these refugees are not being trained, they're not being helped? What would be the situation for the refugees?
I don't like to think of that, about that, because the picture will be naturally black. So people they are human beings, you know, they need to feed themselves. If they don't have work, if they are not able to work, actually the alternative is very bad. They may become criminals. So we don't want anyone to be criminal, actually. We want to assist, we want to help, we want to facilitate everything for them to enable them to work and to feed themselves and to feed their families. This is the idea. It is a humanitarian issue, 100% humanitarian basis, actually, to assist refugees. The Jordanians already, they face some difficulties. So having Jordanians with refugees in parallel, this will reduce actually the effects of keeping refugees in Jordan.
Yes, and how has the international agreements and about the refugees affected the situation in Jordan?
Well, actually, the assistance which has been provided is not enough. The Jordan needs more, actually, because of the huge number, the big number of refugees. Jordan is a small country with poor, actually, natural resources. That's why still we need a lot to do, actually, in regard of education and training specifically. Having more schools, expanding our training facilities, expanding our schools needs support, actually, need financial resources. And without this financial resource, it is difficult to guarantee sustainability in regard of providing the services for refugees. This is the idea, actually. Otherwise, unfortunately, Jordan is surrounded by conflicts, by hot areas in Iraq, in Palestine, in Syria, and affected strongly by those conflicts, Our economy has been affected strongly, actually. That's why we need to help the others. But we don't have the needed resources, actually, the enough resources to help them. That's why we are optimistic in regard of any assistance provided by the Europeans, by the international community, by international organizations. This will be helpful, actually, for Jordan.
How would you say the common Jordanian, how is his and her attitude towards the Syrian refugees?
Well, we are not facing any problems in regard of that. And you just imagine that in a small country like Jordan, we receive more than 1.5 million Syrian refugees. Over and above, we have already a huge number of Iraqis. We have a good number of Egyptians. We have a good number of Asians whom migrated, actually, to seeking for stability, for good standard living, whom they are looking, actually, to improve their living standard. So we are doing well, actually, in that regard. We are not facing any difficulties in that regard. But by providing services and guaranteeing sustainability for both Jordanians and refugees, this will keep the situation quiet and good. Thank you.
Thank you.